the Black Triangle UFO, a shape so distinct, so sharply defined against the night sky that it cannot be mistaken for anything else. Recently, a highly credentialed whistleblower, Fred Baker, came forward as part of a wider UAP investigation led by Ross Coulthart. Baker, a respected US Air Force and Special Warfare veteran, described an unusual experience in which he was taken to a remote field by an individual claiming to have psionic abilities. Baker witnessed what he described as an orchestrated show of unidentified aerial phenomena, culminating in the appearance of an enormous triangular mothership surrounded by smaller orb-like minions. His account was only a small part of a broader investigation focused on UAP recovery programs and the concept of summoning UAP through psychic means. The Black Triangle sighting, in particular, was almost an afterthought, overshadowed by reports of an egg-shaped craft retrieval. We've already explored the egg-shaped UFO phenomenon, so today, we're turning our attention to the Black Triangles. Reports of these craft have existed for decades, but it was during the 1980s and 1990s that they became a true global phenomenon. All over the world, witnesses described enormous, silent, triangular craft, hovering, gliding low, then vanishing at impossible speeds. The Black Triangles were often described as football field-sized or even larger, some spanning up to a mile across. They typically had bright lights at each corner and a larger light in the center. There was no sign of conventional propulsion, no wings, no rotors, no exhaust. Advanced human technology, or something made elsewhere? The triangular or delta shape is something that we do see in conventional aircraft. Stealth bombers, fighter jets, and experimental spy planes have long been built in these configurations. It is this similarity that has led many to speculate that at least some Black Triangle sightings could be highly classified, experimental aircraft, perhaps belonging to the United States, Russia, or even private aerospace programs operating in the shadows. Rumors of top-secret military Black Triangle aircraft can be traced back to Aviation Week and Space Technology, and Popular Mechanics, both respected publications known for their coverage of cutting-edge aerospace developments and classified projects. In the late 1980s, Aviation Week and Space Technology first introduced speculation about a program known as Aurora, a rumored hypersonic black triangular spy plane thought to be a successor to the SR-71 Blackbird. Then, in 1991, they published an article discussing the TR-3A Black Manta, an alleged stealth reconnaissance aircraft believed to be developed by Northrop. That same year, Popular Mechanics also explored the TR-3A in an article detailing America's secret aircraft, adding to the growing intrigue surrounding these mysterious black projects. While the TR-3A and other rumored Black Triangle craft were never confirmed, serious aerospace companies have registered patents for similar designs. Boeing's US 5,003,471A patent, granted in 1991, describes a stealthy, delta-shaped surveillance platform intended to enhance reconnaissance capabilities. This design relies on conventional jet propulsion, not exotic technology. While such patents prove that triangular aircraft exist within standard aerospace development, they do not explain the enormous, silent, hovering black triangles reported worldwide. This is where a more controversial black triangle enters the picture, the TR-3B, a craft that moves beyond conventional aviation and into the realm of conspiracy. Allegedly part of a classified black budget program, it's said to use exotic propulsion, an advanced plasma accelerator ring to reduce mass and perform extreme maneuvers. While no official proof of its existence has surfaced, the legend persists, fueled by eyewitness reports and whispers of secret military technology. Further adding to the intrigue, patents filed by inventors like John St. Clair and Salvatore Pais describe craft designs and propulsion concepts that sound eerily similar to the TR-3B's rumored capabilities. But while these ideas exist on paper, their real-world application remains unproven, leaving us to wonder if they hint at classified programs or remain purely theoretical. Between 1983 and 1986, thousands of witnesses across New York and Connecticut reported seeing massive V-shaped UFOs with multicolored lights moving silently across the night sky. These sightings became known as the Hudson Valley UFO wave, one of the most well-documented UFO flaps in history. A group of local pilots later claimed responsibility, stating they had flown Cessna 152s in formation, equipped with bright, color-changing lights. While this explanation may account for some of the sightings, it fails to explain encounters like that of William A. Pollard, who, while driving on Interstate 84, saw a giant triangle hovering just 30 feet off the ground before it shut off its lights and shot straight into the sky. Many other witnesses described solid, structured craft, moving in ways that a group of small planes never could. The sheer number of reports, the duration of the wave over 4 years, and the nature of certain sightings make it seem highly unlikely that a handful of pilots could account for every encounter. Across the Atlantic, Belgium faced its own wave of Black Triangle sightings involving thousands of witnesses, military radar confirmations, and even aerial interceptions by the Belgian Air Force. The wave began in November 1989, when reports flooded in about large, silent, triangular craft moving slowly at low altitude over the country. Witnesses described a black triangle with bright lights at each corner, sometimes emitting a central red beam. These sightings continued for months, with reports coming from civilians, police officers, and even military personnel. On March 30, 1990, the Belgian Air Force scrambled 2 F-16 fighter jets to intercept one of these craft after radar stations picked up an unidentified object moving erratically through the sky. The jets locked onto the target multiple times, only for the craft to suddenly accelerate beyond human-made capabilities, going from 1,000 feet to 10,000 feet in a matter of seconds and outmaneuvering the pilots completely. The entire event was tracked on radar, but was never visually confirmed by the pilots. Despite official investigations, no conventional explanation was ever found. The Belgian government took the case seriously, even working with a civilian UFO research group to analyze the reports. Unlike many UFO cases, the Belgium wave wasn't brushed off. It was acknowledged at the highest levels. Coast to Coast AM was a hugely popular late-night radio show in the 1990s, renowned for its deep dives into paranormal mysteries, UFO sightings, and conspiracy theories. Its captivating blend of eerie storytelling and investigative discussions earned it a dedicated following. The show's iconic host, Art Bell, became synonymous with the realm of unexplained phenomena and famously recounted his own encounter with a massive black triangle craft. At the time of his sighting, Bell was driving with his wife Ramona between Las Vegas and their home in Pahrump, Nevada. As they stopped the car, they watched in awe and silence as a giant triangular craft passed low overhead. So close that Bell later said he could have hit it with a rock. It made no sound. It didn't fly, it floated. Bell recounted the story over the years, describing how the encounter changed him forever. But what makes this sighting particularly intriguing is its timing. It happened in 1994, right as Coast to Coast AM was shifting from politics into the paranormal, on the verge of becoming a radio juggernaut. Could it have been more than coincidence? Could the government, or whoever is behind these craft, have deliberately targeted Bell to nudge him deeper into UFO and paranormal topics? Just 3 years after his sighting, Coast to Coast AM was one of the most popular radio shows in America, fully embracing UFOs, government cover-ups, and the unexplained. Was Bell simply in the right place at the right time, or was he targeted to be the messenger for the truth, or possibly the deception? The Phoenix Lights is arguably the most significant Black Triangle UFO event in history and remains one of the most widely witnessed sightings ever recorded. What makes this case particularly fascinating is that thousands of people happened to be looking up at the sky that night. Not for UFOs, but for the Hale-Bopp comet, which was visible and causing a media sensation at the time. It began on the evening of March 13, 1997, with the first reports coming in around 7:30 p.m. near the Nevada-Arizona border. One of the earliest known witnesses was a police officer in Paulden, Arizona, who reported seeing a massive V-shaped craft with bright lights at each tip, moving slowly and silently. As the night progressed, the sightings spread, with hundreds of people across Arizona describing an enormous V or boomerang-shaped craft passing overhead. Over the next 2 hours, reports moved southward across the state, from Prescott to Phoenix, all the way to the Estrella Mountains, where the sightings seemed to culminate. The sheer scale of the object was staggering. Some said it was as large as multiple football fields. Others described it as mile-wide. Later that night, around 10 p.m., another set of bright stationary lights appeared over Phoenix. These are the ones the military later claimed were flares dropped from A-10 Warthogs during a training exercise at the Barry Goldwater Range. While this might explain the second set of lights, it raises an obvious question. Why did the flares form a pattern nearly identical to the earlier lights seen on the massive craft? The flares' explanation does nothing to account for the silent, moving craft that had been seen across the state for 2 hours prior. Some have speculated that the flares were dropped as a deliberate misdirection, an attempt to muddy the waters and give skeptics something to latch onto. Others believe that the event was a test flight of an enormous classified stealth craft, one that either failed to remain hidden or was deliberately flown to see how the public would react. The National UFO Reporting Center, run by Peter Davenport, was overwhelmed with calls that night, as was Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM radio show, where panicked listeners shared their experiences in real time. The governor of Arizona at the time, Fife Symington, publicly ridiculed the event, calling for an investigation only to mock it by bringing a staff member on stage in an alien costume. But in an incredible twist, a decade later, Symington completely reversed course.
I'm Fife Symington. In 1997, during my second term as governor of Arizona, I saw something that defied logic and challenged my reality. I witnessed a massive delta-shaped craft that silently navigated over the Squaw Peak area in North Phoenix in the evening, and it was truly breathtaking. To my astonishment, it appeared to be a solid structure. It was huge. It had a very distinctive leading edge with huge embedded lights in it, and it was just traveling quietly, made no sound, through the Arizona night sky.
The Phoenix Lights remains one of the most compelling cases in UFO history, not just because of the massive number of witnesses, but because of how authorities handled it. Whether it was an alien craft, an experimental stealth vehicle, or a deliberate psyop, one thing is certain. What happened in Arizona that night was real, and it has never been fully explained. The last case we'll mention here is the Calvine incident, 1990 Scotland. The famous photograph, allegedly taken by hikers, shows a diamond-shaped craft rather than a true triangle. But it shares many characteristics with black triangles: silent, massive, seemingly hovering with no visible propulsion. Could these craft be the result of reverse engineering programs, as claimed by figures like Bob Lazar, who alleged that a facility near Area 51 was studying recovered alien spacecraft, or former Lockheed Martin engineer Boyd Bushman, who hinted at secret aerospace programs integrating non-human technology into next-generation craft? Some believe the Black Triangle sightings of the 1980s and 90s aren't just evidence that these programs exist, but that they've already developed next-generation aerospace technology and are keeping it hidden. This has been The Nighttime.